What is going on with Ondo Finance? Why did it underperform Bitcoin in the last week? Let's have a look at the on-chain metrics. Let's see who's buying and selling here. And let's see if this dip is a potential buying opportunity or if this is the beginning of a crash. Now, this is not the first video on Ondo on this channel. The very first one was published a year ago. And that video outperformed an average video. The average video is in gray and that Ondo Finance video is in blue. At the time, the price was 28 cents. Now we are at $1.68. So I try to be early on this channel, right? I cover various altcoins when they're still comparatively small. Feel free to subscribe over here. Let's see what we've got next. But here's the problem. In the last week, Ondo Finance went down by 7%, while at the same time, Bitcoin appreciated by 1.6%. And the reason for this delta in performance has nothing to do with a lack of attention. In total, this channel had 5 videos on Ondo Finance. And the last one also outperformed an average video, and there's still search interest. In other words, since there is a correlation between attention and the price, and since attention is still elevated, why is the price not going up for Ondo? Here's one first explanation. This is the total value locked chart of Ondo over time measured in US dollars, and the long-term chart, of course, is very positive. But in the last few days, it seems like growth has somewhat stopped. But I don't think that's the whole story, because Ondo Finance gets traded both on centralized exchanges and on-chain. And the centralized exchanges do have quite a bit of impact on the price through all those levered instruments. So have a look at this funding rate heat map. We are quite balanced for most altcoins, but have a look at Ondo Finance. We had a rather negative funding rate on the 15th of November of this year. We then went very positive on the 5th of December, and now we are rather negative again. And so have a look at those data points. This is when we were negative. So the 15th of November, subsequently the price went up very heavily. And so have a look at those data points. This is the 15th of November when the funding rate was negative. Subsequently, the price went up quite nicely. And it stopped rallying on the 5th of December when the funding rate tended to be very positive. In other words, when there was a lot of leverage in the market. Now that leverage is shaken out again and we are rather at negative funding rates. People on average are bearish on Ondo. Thus, we might see yet another short squeeze. This is how the centralized exchanges play the game. If the majority of people bet on falling prices, then the market makers buy up the token in order to liquidate all of those people. If the majority of people are very bullish on the price, then simply profit taking has been done, then the price gets sold off. So on average, the market makers always tend to do the exact opposite of what the masses are doing. And the masses are currently bearish again, which should mean positive things for the price development. Now let's have a look at the on-chain metrics as we do so often on this channel. On the Ethereum chain, we've got 76,000 holders right now. Now some of those holders might only have a few cents of the token, so let's have a look at minimum holding thresholds. On the left side, we see the number of wallets that have at least 1,000 Ondo tokens. So at the current price, that's $1,680 worth of the token. For the chart in the middle, we go at 10x in minimum holding, so that's now 10,000 tokens. For the chart on the right, another 10x, so 100,000 tokens. We can see how there's a long-term accumulation across the board. But since the end of May of this year, medium-sized retail tended to rather sell. And for the whales, they already did this 1 month prior to that. Now, this is the overarching trend. That being said, the attention is currently quite high. So there are a lot of buyers and sellers in the market. And again, that's not driven by the whales. This is driven by a lot of small investors. We can also see that over time, the relationship between sellers and buyers gets more and more in favor of the sellers. Again, not necessarily that great. Now, the macro picture very much looks like we are at a pivotal moment. It seems like we are very close to an altcoin rotation because the risk to reward for Bitcoin at this moment is not that great. Have a look at this long-term Bitcoin chart and check out those 2 red lines. At those points of time, the upside potential for Bitcoin wasn't that great anymore relative to the downside. So this is a very long-term chart, right? We did not yet hit the top, but we are relatively close to the top. Now, those lines are not scientific whatsoever, right? They're simply just curved lines drawn on the Bitcoin chart, but they tend to connect the tops relatively well and they tend to connect the bottoms relatively well. Currently, we are very close to such a high risk, poor reward situation for Bitcoin one more time. Now again, have a look at those 2 red lines. Those points in time correspond with those red lines over here. This is the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance crashed when the risk to reward for Bitcoin wasn't that great anymore. What does a Bitcoin dominance crash mean? It means that Bitcoin as a fraction of all of crypto is going down. In other words, it's altcoin season. The altcoins outperform Bitcoin at that point in time. Now, historically, that rotation happened when Bitcoin dominance was at around 70%. This time it seems to happen a bit earlier, but it looks like we have already started the rotation again, because the risk to reward is not that great at the moment for Bitcoin. People want to get the multiple X returns, and they're not anymore that easy to be made with Bitcoin. And so what asset class performed the best in the last 7 days? It is the risk on categories. It's things like frog themed tokens or AI memes. And so the largest of the AI meme tokens are things like Fartcoin, which is currently at 44 cents, which had been covered on this channel when it was still at 5 cents. Or it's things like Goceus Maximus, which is currently at 56 cents, and it was at above $1.30 at one point, which was covered on this channel when we were still at 25 cents. Or here, another AI meme, AI16Z, currently at 67 cents. And we talked about this here at 28 cents. Now, how did I discover tokens like this that early when they still make multiple X returns? The answer lies in on-chain analytics and in wallet tracking. I like to track wallets of other insiders, of influencers, of top traders. And so have a look at the recent trade. I published this in the Gerhard Trade channel on December 10th, how I'm buying some Alchemist AI. And since then, the price appreciated by more than 40%. And it is the best performing token on Solana in the last 24 hours. This is not random. This is not luck. This is all happening because of wallet tracking, because we get transactions whenever influencers and top traders are buying. Here, have a look at this recent trade by Crypto Gains. He bought Morph AI, and this is the chart. This is a channel of Crypto Gains. He's got 140,000 subscribers, and he talks about small cap cryptocurrencies regularly. And we are tracking 55 of his wallets. Or have a look at Crypto Banter. They've got 1.1 million subscribers. When they talk about a token, especially a small cap cryptocurrency, of course, this generates a lot of attention. Attention turns into purchases. Purchases turn into rising prices. And so we are tracking 33 of Crypto Banter's wallets. Or check out Alex Becker, 1.5 million subscribers. Through on-chain analytics, we found 12 of his wallets. Those are not official wallets, right? Those are wallets that we find through various means. Now, what kind of means? It's explained over here in this tutorial course. It's 8 videos in total. It's explaining how to find influencer wallets, how to track influencer wallets, and how to then interpret the signals that we get from the tracking. It's all part of the premium membership of this channel. Premium is not just about wallet tracking. It's also about on-chain analytics. It's also about backtesting. It's also about risk mitigation and portfolio diversification. There's more than 100 tutorial videos in total in premium. And so if you want to stop just chasing the trends, if you want to be early, then feel free to check it out. It's currently $165 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, in case you don't learn anything, just message me within the first 7 days and I'll refund you 100%. There's really zero risk for you. When we zoom in for Ondo Finance and we just look at the last week, the picture doesn't look too bad. Yes, the price went down while Bitcoin went up, but that's because retail tends to now lose interest to a degree. The number of new wallets per day on Ethereum for Ondo Finance tended to decline in the last 7 days. Now we can forget about the very latest data point over here because today has just started, so this bar is going to fill up. But still, the trend here is clear. When we zoom in though at the number of retail investors versus whale investors, there is a positive development. The number of whale investors went up in the last week, quite a lot. So this is now wallets that have at least $160,000 worth of the token. This increased by roughly 30 wallets or almost 4%. It appears as if the smart money is buying the dip. The heavyweights are getting in. The smart money is taking advantage of this leverage effect here. You want to do the exact opposite of what the masses are doing. And you want to sell when financing costs are high. You want to buy when financing costs are low. So will Ondo Finance outperform the rest of the altcoin market over the next months and years? I'm not so sure, right? Because the very long-term trends don't look that great. Will it outperform, say, over the next week or two? I think that's more likely because, again, the whales are currently buying in. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you in the next video or see you in premium. Cheers!